Hey guys, Raivuns here. You probably remember the Suicide Squad movie from 2016. Yeah, I'm sorry I reminded you that it exists, but it sadly does. And the director of it can't stop talking about it. Because according to him, his version of the movie was much better than the theatrical version that Warner Bros. Released. And well, to me it's obvious what he's trying to achieve. He obviously wants to get the Zack Snyder treatment from DC. He wants Warner Bros. To give him more money, probably tens of millions of dollars, so he can finish his version of the Suicide Squad movie, which according to him was much different than the theatrical one. And he thinks, well, if Zack Snyder got his version done, then I should be able to do so too, right? So he keeps hyping up the fans, trying to get them to start a similar movement to the Snyder Cut movement a few years ago, which actually resulted in the Warner Bros. Releasing the Snyder Cut. David Ayer, director of the 2016 DCEU epic Suicide Squad, well, epic, not really, took to Twitter to defend his director's cut of the film yet again. The moment Warner Bros. Allowed Zack Snyder to put out his version of Justice League, a can of worms was opened. This led to the movement for the Ayer Cut, which quickly gained strength as fans fought for the director's original version of Suicide Squad to be released. While the Ayer Cut may still not have been a wide release, it has been screened. A lucky fan previously shared back in October of 2022 that they watched the cut on Ayer's very own computer, which presented a totally different story. The DC filmmaker even went in to confirm it himself. Now he's back with more to say regarding his secret cut of the project. I mean, it would be kinda interesting to see his cut of the movie, because the cut we got in theaters was pretty horrible. In my opinion, one of the worst superhero movies I've ever seen. And that was pretty sad considering how hyped everyone was back then. Suicide Squad director David Ayer responded to fans on Twitter in an effort to express why his personal cut of the 2016 film is better than its theatrical counterpart. In response to a Twitter user commenting that the Ayer cut is never gonna happen, the Suicide Squad director joined the conversation asking, why not? After someone else claimed that the cut wouldn't be worthwhile since anything that wasn't included in the theatrical version is an afterthought, Ayer was once again ready to defend himself. Normally you're absolutely right. This is an extraordinary case of a movie being utterly re-engineered in post. It's not a couple cutscenes being added. And I do understand the dilemma. Studio interference is usually a horrible thing. I mean, we had so many cases over the years where a director said that the studio interfered heavily in his artistic vision for the movie. The infamous example is obviously Spider-Man 3, where Sony heavily interfered in Sam Raimi's work and pushed him to add Venom to the movie even though Sam Raimi didn't want to. And even though I love Spider-Man 3, that decision probably ended up damaging the movie a bit. And I think Mark Webb even claimed the same thing for The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Zack Snyder had this problem, well, and David Ayer had the same problem as well, apparently. In his version of the movie, for one, Jared Leto's Joker had a more prominent role, all of which was butchered by extensive reshoots and editing of the cut that made it to theaters. His abusive relationship with Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn was claimed to be further fleshed out and more brutal. Speaking of Joker, on top of dealing with her maniac ex, Harley Quinn was also said to be romantically involved with Will Smith's Deadshot. Backstory seemed to be a common thing lost between the theatrical and director's cut. Supposedly, both Slipknot and an Enchantress would have had more to their stories compared to the bare minimum seen in the final version. In the 2016 film, Katana didn't end up doing all that much. However, in Ayer's personal cut, she's pivotal to a third act action sequence and in general would have been given more to do. Oh, and El Diablo didn't end up biting the bullet towards the end of the story. And I have to admit, if this is all true, this really sounds like a completely different movie from the one we saw in theaters. And I understand the dilemma. The studio obviously doesn't want to give him so much money because it will cost a lot to make this Ayer cut happen. And is it worth it? I honestly think probably not. And it's unlikely that it will ever happen. There's a pretty clear reason as to why David Ayer's cut of the Suicide Squad won't see the light of day. Warner Bros. Regrets having given even Zack Snyder a chance to put his Justice League out there. WB insiders even admitted Zack Snyder's Justice League never should have happened. Well, and that's probably the main reason. WB doesn't want to work on the Snyder universe anymore. The Snyder DC universe is pretty much over. That makes a lot of fans disappointed, While on the other hand, a lot of fans are also very happy that they're finally moving on from Zack Snyder's vision of the DC universe. The article continues, it's probably best that the world continues on its path of leaving Suicide Squad behind. After all, James Gunn's more recent The Suicide Squad was received vastly better from both critics and fans. It even spawned the beloved HBO Max series Peacemaker. And that's very true. I mean, look at the Suicide Squad reception, for example on Rotten Tomatoes. 26% critic score, 58% audience score. And honestly, this time, I'm more on the side of the critics. I think the audience score is way too high, because that movie was garbage. The story was whack, and it completely butchered a lot of characters, one of which was Joker. The only two characters that I ended up liking was Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn and Will Smith's Deadshot. Those two were pretty good, but the rest really unlikable and boring. And now take a look at James Gunn's recent Suicide Squad. It's sitting at a 90% critic score and an 82% audience score. And that's one where I probably agree more with the audience score, but it was a pretty good movie. I saw it in theaters and I really liked it. And definitely a lot better than the first Suicide Squad movie. But what's your opinion on this? Do you want to see the Ayer Cut? Or do you want James Gunn to just continue his version of the DC universe? Tell me in the comments down below. And please like the video and subscribe to the channel. I hope I can earn your subscription today. It would really mean a lot. Other than that, thank you so much for watching and I'll see you guys in the next one. So until then, take care.